Write it down so you don't forget it. Tonight we're live streaming. We've got a few things we're gonna be doing this evening on this live stream. We're gonna be watching the A's game for a bit. We're gonna go over to the other house, get a little bit more work done. We called Zoe. Got a hand truck today so I can move those dryer and washer. I even got my hardware stuff for free, functionally. Because since I had to go to Oakhurst and Rachel didn't want to go, I figured I might as well go at a casino, which I did, and I won like $300 or $400. Usually Rachel would go with me on this sort of thing, and it wouldn't occur to me to go down there. Let's see what's happening. What are misanthropes? People, I love you too, Rachel. People who are actively ill-intentioned towards people or humanity in general. In other words, a misanthrope would be like a villain who knows they're fucking shit up, wants to fuck shit up, and are getting away with it, doing it on purpose, right? I don't have any mushrooms, big dog. My point is, the people who are willfully bad aren't the dangerous ones. The people who believe passionately that they're correct, but don't apply an actual paradigm of correctness, then they're the most dangerous ones. Well-intentioned people who firmly believe that what they're doing is in the best interest of everybody, but they're not equipped to evaluate the question objectively. They think their positions are part of their identity rather than claims that one makes or jettisons according to the strength of the case one can make in defense of it, you know? That's my point, is that by far the worst people, the most dangerous people, are the people who firmly believe that they're good people who are doing the right thing for the right reason. Because a lot of people don't use very good evaluatory mechanisms when it comes to people expressing, say, policy prescriptions. So if you're reading this politician as earnest and honest and really speaking his truth, and he really is impassioned and believes in this thing, that might be a criterion which you use to determine that this is therefore a good person to be a politician because they're honest. But that's, of course, not the way we pick our policymakers. We pick them according to their understanding of policy and the actual correctness regarding those sorts of things. So, like, I don't doubt that AOC is passionately and genuinely and earnestly a believer in her cause. She doesn't think she's doing evil. She's not trying to do evil. She's not a misanthrope. She's just a moron. Like, I was thinking it would be a good exchange is the following exchange. Oh my God, that's retarded, says Eric. Someone says, you really shouldn't use that word. I'm sorry. I'm not subject to discourse case. Trans everything. What the? Oh, well, you were trying to make a discourse critique there. Saying essentially that I have to be delegitimized in what I'm saying because of how I'm saying it or because of certain purportedly more significant issues of discursive habits. But in this case, obviously, no, that's just a joke. What matters is stuff that matters, not stupid ass fucking word policing. It's like I just use whatever words I want to use. I get it. Hey, I don't want to say racist stuff any more than you do. I agree. Being racist is totally gay. No, Eric, that's not okay either. Okay, fine. Being gay is totally lame. No, Eric, that's not okay either. Because what you mean is not that being gay is lame. You mean that being retarded is lame. Well, being retarded is lame. But the thing is, lame is ableist hate speech. Okay, well then being retarded is, I don't know, suboptimal. Stop projecting your judgment onto the retards, okay? They're optimally as they are. They're only retarded compared to regular people, not compared to themselves. You can't compare them to themselves. That doesn't make any sense. This is the discourse I have. Sody knocks another one out of the ballpark. It's a free run, home run for the Athletics. Keep in mind, I'm in the past. I've got time saved up on this game. Don't tell me what's happening currently. Nice job, Sody. Nice job. Way to rock it. Now I'm going to bring up the chat on the big screen. On the biggest screen I can find. A screen the size of the Rocky Mountains. Hi, Acacia. Did you know? Have you heard the bad news? I recently contracted Asperger's syndrome. Also, apparently, I have a new disease called ADHD. This is all Adderall garble. I mean, the thing is, if you don't like who I am, which is somebody who likes to chat and talk and goof around, and you'll see much of the same kind of discourse when I'm not on Adderall. It's just I'm less enthusiastic about sharing it with you. You should be grateful that I'm on Adderall because it allows you to be the beneficiary of all of these words of wisdom. If in fact what you're saying is that because I'm on Adderall, you can interpret the meaning of my words differently, then you do not understand how words work. What I'm saying has value in and of itself on its merits and can be evaluated as such. You don't need to worry about my mental state, right? Because remember, the drunkest, most homeless person in the world who's also a retard might be correct, while the soberest, most genius person in the world is wrong on any given particular point. There's no past results guarantee you nothing regarding future outcomes when it comes to correctness. Correctness is a way of life. You have to persist in it on a regular, ongoing basis. It's not like half-assery that you're familiar with. It's something that's real, important, not necessarily difficult, but for most people probably it is, but for certain personality types it needs to be difficult. But it's unfortunately something that's critically important to the well-being of us all and not recognized as such, which is obviously a problem. Hey, witness, though, I'm curious. I think we should talk a little bit about this. So, how do you account for, or what meaning are you making about your obvious and increasing hostility towards me? Because you're discovering in every instance that, in fact, whatever you have to say, my response is more insightful, better, and more correct. You may or may not be willing to acknowledge that to yourself, right? But it's causing you to get a little bit nasty. So my question is like, are you really a Christian or are you a troll? I think you really are a Christian because I think only non-religious people, they have a tendency to think religious people being earnest are trolling. You're not concerned, right? You don't get to be concerned for me. I'm not your concern, and your concern is not my concern. You can't help me. I can help you, but I'm not concerned for you. If you want to continue to wallow in your wrongness, that's your fucking prerogative. I'm not going to worry about you. I got my own shit to think about. All I can do is offer you the truth, and all you can do is fight it as hard as you can. Yes, your life, so I get to be concerned. Well, I mean, the thing is, you can feel whatever you want, but you don't get to convey it to me as your concern, because I don't perceive it as concern. I perceive it as you projecting an intolerance towards my way of life as a normative absolute that I should adhere to as well, which is, of course, insane and ridiculous, and you're wrong about that. So you may feel concern, but that's not how it comes across, and that's not how I perceive it or experience it. That's why your emotions matter a lot less than the words you say. Words we can do something with. Emotions are mushy. When you can say whatever you want, you can insist and stomp your foot. No, I am expressing concern. What I'm telling you is you're not going to get away with it here. I'm called bullshit on that. It's obvious bullshit for myriad reasons. And anybody who's paying any attention can see that what you're not expressing is concern, but fear that maybe your own paradigm that you must have as an absolute for whatever reason might not actually be the singular monolithic absolute you hoped it would be or thought it was. That's going to be scary, you know? If you're reliant on that singularity, that monolith, that's going to be scary. But you're going to have to just fucking wake up and like come to terms with yourself or something, because I don't got the energy for it. I mean, I do, but I don't want to waste the energy on it. All right, let's go look at that fountain, the fountain. I do want to dig it out more. I want to re-excavate it and then because I'm just not satisfied with the size of it. I want a bigger pond. But I don't want it huge, but I want it bigger than that. All right, we're going to put more water in the pond using el hose, as they call it in Spanish. But if you genuinely are telling yourself that you're feeling concern, you're lying to yourself, okay? You need to be a little bit more honest with yourself about your feelings. You're feeling threatened, maybe. You're feeling like your worldview is not as clear-cut or certain or correct as you once thought it was. That's understandable. You actually are, in fact, wrong. So, the natural consequence of wrongness, right? That's why I try to avoid wrongness at every turn. Well, this held water a lot better after I adjusted the waterfall, so I think it was losing it on one side of the waterfall or something, because this is already full, and I've been many hours to fill it. It's not leaking. What I'd like to do is have it expand that way, so that, and keep it kind of low, so that the current lowest part of the pond will remain the lowest part of the pond, so I don't have to move the pump. I just want it to be a little bigger. I will have to put down some additional tarp and stuff, and that's fine. I'll do a better job of dealing with that this time too. I'm thinking about making an overflow pond on this other side of it there, so that when I fill it up, it'll fill up just an earthen basin over there. It doesn't have any tarp in it, and that will make for like rising and falling mud, right? Maybe attract more frogs, I'm thinking. That's the goal here, is to attract some frogs. If we had to articulate a specific goal. But yeah, I see this thing ultimately being fantastic. If I just drag this whole thing over and make it like this big, it'll really look like a little pond. And I can have a little bit of shelf behind it for this mud flats basin that I'm talking about. It's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to doing it, but I know if I'm gonna do any work, I should do it over at the other house right now. I can't really power wash right now, so maybe I'll wait till tomorrow. Now that we called Zoe, the pictures are not gonna be tomorrow, so calling him a precious soul is tearing him down. No, I don't think you're tearing me down. I think you're projecting insecurity about your own frame of reference. That might take the form of that. It could be perceived as an attempt to take me down, but that's not what's really happening. You're scared. You are entirely reliant on this single universal paradigm to provide you with all your ontological, spiritual, and otherwise strength. And accordingly, when you see somebody like myself who's incorporated a faith-based paradigm in conjunction with rationalist paradigms, and not to the exclusion of them at all, it's threatening. It's understandably threatening, because possibly you have your whole sobriety based on this narrative that remaining sold to this narrative. That could be the case. I don't know. But that's what's happening. You might not think that's what's happening. I believe you don't think that's what's happening, but that's what's happening. You see, a person who's very godly, who's very mindful of morality, both moral duties, moral prohibitions, moral responsibilities, the whole 9 yards, who's very conscious of sin and very negatively affected by it when he commits it. The amount of regret I have is always much greater than whatever benefit I might have garnered. So, you're not sure what to do with it, because from your perspective, a person can't be in a good relationship with God while also getting intoxicated. I'm guessing because you couldn't do that. But it's possible if you quit intoxicants. I don't know if this is the case, but let's say you went to Alcoholics Anonymous because you had an alcohol problem like I did. Well, they're going to tell you need to quit everything else too. But I didn't have an everything else problem. I had an alcohol problem, right? So we each live our lives in accordance with somewhat our destiny, somewhat our nature, and somewhat our growth. And I think God's will goes into the our growth part, right? Your growth area is to learn to respect that God has different relationships with other people than he has with you. It's a growth area for you. It's a teachable moment here, which hopefully you can learn from. You have far too much faith in your own very narrow understanding of Christianity in a way that's basically insulting to God and Jesus, saying you can't have diverse kinds of relationships. You can't be okay with diverse kinds of people. You won't tolerate behaviors that are, from this guy self-reporting, perfectly okay and causing no harms, and in fact being a pleasant and happy part of his life. You probably wouldn't object if the thing I did was make crossword puzzles or put together jigsaw puzzles, even though those things are far more a waste of time than smoking weed, in my opinion. But the thing is, that's the beautiful thing. My opinion about what you think is important and precious and what you think is sacrilegious doesn't matter, because your magical thinking frame, like mine, doesn't need to validate externally. What you're trying to do is validate it externally at my expense. You will never succeed because, number one, you're entirely wrong. Number two, I'm entirely right. Number three, I'm vastly more experienced in articulating these sorts of things than you are, obviously. And even if you had the same level of experience as I do, you still wouldn't be as good at it. So it's like the squire coming in out of the cold into the church needing guidance, and instead of listening to the priest starting to preach to him. You have no business preaching to me. You need to listen. This is frequently the case around here. People come in with your classic Dunning-Kruger, right? Like, you think you know a lot about Christianity because you're a hardcore Christian. Turns out I'm way, way more knowledgeable and in a way more sophisticated way knowledgeable about it than you will ever be. And that's got to be intimidating, because you want to feel as though you understand the singularity of Christianity as it applies to everyone in the same way that you feel you understand it as it applies to you. But that's not how a religious framework works. It's a behavior, not a set of position statements. You need to recognize that before you're going to go any further than your current dead end. If you think I'm just talking gobbledygook, then you are not equipped to use language to communicate with people. Certainly not about God or really anything else. You can express yourself and your feelings and stuff, but you're not equipped to communicate information, because I'm making perfectly good sense. Everything I'm saying is entirely cogent. If you try to claim that I'm just rambling or babbling on Adderall or something, then you are in abject denial, or simply constitutionally incapable of being honest about this topic. Well, it looks like a witness found himself getting taken behind the woodshed there, didn't it? I didn't know I was going to take him behind the woodshed that moment. I guess I just had my fill of his proselytizing, of his mindless proselytizing. You know, it's like when I'm trying to figure out how to chainsaw down this tree safely, I don't need the third grader from across the street coming over and explaining his views about chainsawing and about how it's all getting the right sound of roar. And you gotta created a chainsaw fairies and stuff, you know? Well, no, little child, you don't know anything about chainsaws. Go away. Or hang out, but don't try to teach me about chainsaws. Or hang out and do try to teach me about chainsaws, but it's just going to get increasingly absurd, right? Like, I've got good answers for everything you say. I've got good explanations for everything that is confusing to you. And that's not going to change. I'm not on mushrooms, but I tend to be this way when I am on mushrooms, where I'll thoroughly lambast and undress a person for their persistent wrongness, and I won't be very nice about it. But the reason it's kind of like that right now is because I'm not looking at checks on the toilet. I haven't started peeing yet because I'm so busy articulating all these thoughts. Come on, urethra. Be the P2 I know you can be. And let the glorious P fly free. How many drips of urine till your urine is all dripped out? I know. Eric, you're boring us. We are chats. Just give me a second. I don't really super have to pee, but I don't want to get up and then have to come back in like 10 minutes and pee again. So I'm just going to try to pee right here. I got a cool new lighter at the Ace Hardware. It was cheap. It was like $3 or something. But it looks like a propane torch almost, but it's butane. It's a weird design. I'll show it to you in a second. It's got two knobs on it. I'm not sure what each of them does, but it's refillable with butane. So I have that, so that's good, you know. If I had to refill with plutonium, I'd be shit out of luck. I don't have any of that. Butane. Billy Bo, don't you know only hillbillies use butane? Nowadays, everybody uses propane. Propane? You can't light a cigarette with propane. Sure you could. That's how my daddy lit his face on fire. Oh yeah, I remember that. There was an exciting day downtown. What was all the hooting and hollering? Doctor prescribed Daddy 6 jugs of moonshine. Call him on a Wednesday. He was fine. Back to work the next week. Why, in the coal mines, of course. This is the lighter I got. See? Isn't that kind of cool? It's a torch. Favorite turd tune? The thing in my butt that I'll soon see is spelled P-O-O-O-O-P. It's my poop. Would you like a handful? Aspergerling? Well, the thing is, it's an unexploited criminal marketplace, really. A lot of people hide most of their valuables in their butts. Where criminals, why? Because criminals never think to look there. But now that I'm informing the criminals, hey, look in people's butts, there's going to be a rash of butt thefts. Like, how many thousands of dollars worth of precious metals do you have in your ass, Acacia, right now? I mean, 1 ounce of gold, you got $3,300 in your butt. Not that hard. Well, I suspect a lot of women hide things in their vagina, or just put them there if they don't have any pockets. What am I gonna do with my thing with my wallet? I don't know. What girls call their little pocketbook a wallet. I don't know. Oh, and I just slip it up into my purse. There now, hands free. I'm gonna finish this burger later. There, hands free. I'm living free and easy. Hi, hi, D2. Hi, Acacia. Hi, Show Media. That's the secret truth that women don't want us to find out about. They use their vaginas as handy pockets. The same way I use my pee hole, it's just that I can only store very tiny things like a grain of rice without it painfully penetrating my pee hole. You don't want to put anything down there. Face palm, I'll tell you, if you put I don't know, like this down your pee hole, you're going to do a lot more than face palm. Probably scream in agony. Even if it were clean. Which it's not. It's covered in resin. Anyway, the point is, don't put it down your pee hole. Just leave your pee hole alone. It's very sensitive. It's for peeing. It's outgoing only, right? It's for peeing and coming only. Can you explain how taking babies out of this pocket works? How do you take babies out of your pocket? Well, those are different. They don't get put there whole size. They get put there when they're very small and then sculpted into a big thing like a ship in a bottle. You might say, isn't that just purposely making it difficult to come out? And the answer is yes. Why? Because God hates women. He wants to punish you for having vaginas. I'm joking. I don't think God hates women. God, I was joking. No blasphemy intended. It is the case that women have a more challenging biological than men do, right? Men don't get urinary tract infections. Why? Because their pee hole is far away from their bladder, but from the urinary tract, I guess. But chicks, their pee hole is right next to their urinary tract. Because Eve ate the apple. Eve didn't even eat the apple, right? Didn't she make Adam eat it? Didn't she convince Adam to eat it? Smell this, Adam. Smell it. Oh my God, doesn't that smell good? It smells like apple. Apple? Let me give that another smell. Well, it smells okay, but I like the smell of this orange a lot better. No, but Adam, really smell it. Really, really, really smell it. And let me cut it open a little bit for you. Oh, yeah, it does have a good smell. Well, I've got some good news for you. This is not the apple that God told us not to eat. In fact, he dropped by earlier. He said, you could go ahead and eat this one. Really? Yep. Well, all right then. And thunders and lightnings. You horrible man! You evil bitch! Together, you are cast from paradise, apple-eating scum! Be ashamed of your titties. Look, I'm pretty sure my rendition of what happened is more accurate than the one that Alec or Winston's mom is talking about. Just trust my rendition of things. So then they had to leave, right? Fortunately, they were not the first people to be kicked out of paradise. The people who were currently living in Nod, they had already been in paradise. They ate the apple right away. They all got kicked out. They had to go live in the land of Nod. And that's where Cain and Abel and mom and dad went to go reside and tell, oops, sorry, Abel's dead. I killed him. I'm Cain. And so they went to Nod, but the Nodians, they were like, it's fine, no big deal. Look, we're just gonna put a little mark on you, Cain, and all of your descendants forever. Yeah, that means you're, I guess, like a slave, kind of. I don't want to be a slave. Well, you shouldn't have killed your brother. I didn't kill him on purpose. He tripped and fell eye first directly into my sharpened stick. I was trying to pull it out of the way. Uh, Likely story. We all know the truth here, Cain. You savagely beat him to death in his sleep. That is not true. Adam colored his pee green and drew eyes on. He said, yes, Adam, what he did, the real story is Adam got some green dye from some plants and some black charcoal from a fire, and he made his penis look like a green snake with black eyes. And then he wiggled it around the tree, and he from behind the tree, he said, hello, Eve. I'm a wonderful serpent. And he's like, why, you're an odd-looking serpent. And the penis serpent chortled. Oh, many have told me so. They also say I'm the wisest serpent in the whole forest. Really? What are you wise about? Well, I know all the very best fruits to eat. Anyway, one thing turns to another, and before they know it, Adam's butt fucking Eve, and they're both eating apples. How did this happen? Well, I mean, why weren't you scared of a snake? Oh, they didn't have poop holes yet. In the Garden of Eden, they had no poop holes? I don't believe that. I mean, that's how we should be designed, right? She had too many. You think what really got him kicked out is not that they ate an apple, but that Eve was trying to shoplift a bunch of them in her puss. I agree with that scenario, that hypothesis. What's love, your group, but a secondhand emotion? What's love got to do with it? Got to do with it. Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? Some real poetry there. Let's pull a bowl. Friar Crutch, you truly are a loyal Indian guide. Well, obviously, in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve may have been naked, but they had shoes. God issued them both Skechers. Do you know that I learned something interesting about marsupials the other day in Australia? I didn't learn it in Australia. I learned about marsupials in Australia. The marsupials are there, not the learning. So all the marsupials that have pouches, they're all, the open part of the pouch is up towards their face. Except for wombats. Theirs is completely upside down. Because the way they dig and burrow, if it weren't pointing in the opposite direction, they'd burrow dirt into their pouch. So I was thinking about this. How does evolution explain that? You've got various intermediate stages between 180 degrees flipped and right side up that aren't any better than right side up. So how do you gradually go from right side up to upside down as a transition from some other marsupial who has theirs right side up, or splitting off species wise? It makes absolutely no sense. There are shit tons of things that make no sense as having evolved, because they have to be complete as they are, fully functional. And like, for example, a car engine couldn't evolve because you could put most of the pieces of the car engine in place and it wouldn't do anything. It's not until all the pieces are going together. So in a car's instance, it has to be created. But I'm not saying that's necessarily the case with species. What I am saying is the species operate in the same way. They have a fully unique and developed set of skills and abilities or whatever, and that it doesn't make sense often for there to be any intermediate stage. So, like, what happened when the woodpecker started pecking the trees and he didn't have yet evolved these extra hard levels of head that allow him to do this? Did he just peck gently and ineffectively at first? If so, why? It doesn't make any sense, Things need to be defensible, sure. And in this regard, they need to be testable, validatable, etc. Sometimes people say biology doesn't make predictions, but evolution is definitely making predictions. But they should also make intuitive sense. Correct things intuitively do make sense. Evolution makes no sense at all. It begins with contradictory premises. Number one, a species is defined as something that doesn't change. Two individuals of a species give birth to another individual of that same species that's reproductively viable. That's the definition. So, and then it says, in the next breath, species are not the thing that doesn't change. Instead, species do change. It's a complete clusterfuck of a disaster from the word go. Let's just all admit that and come to terms with it. Collectively, the globe, the intelligentsia of the globe, should be deeply ashamed of itself for just falling hook, line, and sinker for this line of malarkey. And how many people are there genuinely arguing against it correctly? Me. Because even this one guy I found, like somebody, Jonathan Basanti, I think maybe it was, I don't remember, linked me to this guy, David Berlinski, who was making many of the same arguments I was making about evolution. I was like, finally, there's another smart guy, and he's clearly an INTP and very intellectual. Clearly another smart guy who's aware that evolution is bullshit. And then I find out later that he's on some sort of council for intelligent design. Can we not get a single person who correctly argues that evolution should be scrapped, not because of some other alternative, but because it fails to do the job that it purports to do? People have incredibly low ambiguity tolerance, I tell you. Just be okay with the fact that we don't know. You can see why I get so upset about it. It's like, to me, it seems like the world's gone completely crazy. How can it possibly be that all these colleges and universities full of very smart people, scientists and stuff, and none of them can see what is so punishingly obvious, that evolution is not an explanation of anything that validates. What happens when people don't know what they're trying to do when they first try to do it, right? Like, Darwin had some idea of what he was trying to do when he first tried to do it, and his effort made intuitive sense. It turned out to be false, but you can see why someone would make that intuitive leap, right? That in fact, well, some species give birth to a kid that has a slight mutation, but it's a positive mutation that makes them more reproductively viable. So that's how speciation occurs. That's long since been falsified. And also doesn't make any sense. But even the smart people around here, when I talk to them about it, I don't really feel like I get any converts. I feel like I get some of the smarter people move from certainty about it to a more open mind, maybe. But I don't think anybody can believe that there's no way that Eric's right about evolution when all of these scientists all agree about it. It's the case, though. You can imagine how frustrating it is for me to read, I go to Google News and all these things referencing evolution as though we're somehow informative about something that is obviously not informative about. And I kind of want to understand the way, like how it is that they're the power of the truth that I'm speaking about it doesn't win converts and change people's minds, because you know, I have never had a single person argue in favor of evolution who was even 1/100th as convincing as I am about the failure of evolution to do its job. Almost everybody who argues in favor of evolution doesn't even have any idea what they think it is. They still are operating in some sort of Darwinian framework that was abandoned 100 years ago. And the only reason, well, I do know what the mechanism of it is. The reason why evolution has survived in a scientific arena that should have have falsified and jettisoned it long ago is because it's been sold as and is perceived by people as the alternative to creationism. Of course, creationism is not anything. It's not an explanation. It's just a religious story, right? Um, Evolution is trying to explain something and failing to do so. What does creationism have to do with that? Nothing at all. Like plenty of scientists will tell you that there are species that have remained unchanged for hundreds of millions of years because they've been in a state of evolutionary stasis. Oh, really? So what causes states of evolutionary stasis and evolutionary change? Like, if it's not a gradual process ongoing, it's continually creating change, then what is it exactly? Well, it's genomic adaptability within a species causing divergence within that species into two distinct species under very specific, intense environmental pressures that we don't fully understand. So, but you're supposed to be explaining something, telling me that evolution starts and stops at random times for different species for reasons we can't explain. The mechanism of evolution, therefore, not being something we can articulate. You cannot claim to be explaining anything. Like, we need to go back, everybody, to grade 1. And we need to learn what the word explain means. Okay, well, Sean, the point is, it's not an explanation. So I could say that I guess it's sort of an explanation, but it's more like an archetype, right? Looks like the stork's bringing someone a little brother or sister. It's sort of an explanation in saying that your sibling will come from a stork delivery, but really it's a metaphor, right? I have many videos in which I articulate things, many of which reference research materials, etc. But I don't have a paper about it because I don't know. I just never made one. Maybe I should, I could point out the slew of contradictions between various evolutionary scientists' conclusions from different pieces of data. I could point out the absence of any genomic clock. In other words, if we really understood how evolution works, we should be able to say how long it takes to get from meh to meh. We can't. If evolution were accurate, it should definitely be the case that things with shorter reproductive cycles evolve faster. And we've spent 75,000 generations breeding fruit flies, attempting to speciate them, and have failed to make anything other than more fruit flies. We spent 10,000 years breeding dogs into as distinct breeds as we possibly could, and we still couldn't speciate them. And when we try to make new species by hybridizing, by making the lion fuck the tiger, we come up with this abomination that can't itself make reproductively viable offspring. Or like a mule. Why did humans go, we need to make this tiger fuck this lion, we need to make this horse fuck this donkey? But they're not the same species. Well, we'll just make a new species. But it turns out you can't do that, right? You can't make a new species by hybridizing. And, you know, scientists have understood that for a long time. That speciation did not come from hybridization. You can't just mate a cat and a dog together and get a dog cat. So that's why Darwin introduced this idea of mutations. He was trying to intuit a mechanism that would cause change over time that would explain the small distinctions he saw in the different species of finches that he encountered on these islands. Well, he encountered a lot of different finches that had very specific niches and had different kinds of beaks depending on those niches. Each one seemed to fill a niche perfectly, right? But the mechanism he came up with, he wasn't sure if it was correct. It turned out not to be, right? It is not the case that evolution, but any evolutionary scientist any longer thinks that that positive mutations are responsible for speciation. That two ducks give birth to a super duck whose mutation is compatible with these other two ducks who gave birth to another super duck, and that they go off and have their own population start, and they all share this mutation, and then it happens again where super duck and super duck have the same mutation that's compatible, they go off, etc., and eventually another species comes around. That is the most ridiculous mechanism. It's called the founder's effect and bottlenose. Bottlenose and founder's effect is the most ridiculous mechanism to explain how a species comes about that anybody has ever even conceived of. We have never one time experienced this phenomenon in watching animals make other animals. We've never one time watched this super baby be born with some positive adaptation. Anytime somebody's mutated, they're all fucked up and deformed. They die. That's the evolutionary force that we do have plenty of evidence for. The force that pushes things back to the genomic mean, the opposite of change. If you let all the dogs go and all the people were gone, they just revert to proto-middle dog. The littlest dogs would all die, the biggest dogs would die. The warped, weird breeds that humans have made unhealthy so that they look a certain way, they'd all die. Can't they observe it at the bacterial level? Well, I mean, the thing is, what we can see, like in viruses and bacteria, is that they adapt to changing environmental conditions. So, for example, let's say you've got a population of bears, and one of the population of bears has big bears on the larger side of the genomic of the phenotype, okay, and on the smaller side of the phenotype. Let's say they get somehow isolated on an island. There's not that much food. The bigger bears starve to death. And so you end up with a population of smaller bears, right? And only small bears survive. And so pretty soon you got this kind of population of pygmy bears on this island. Except what didn't happen? Evolution, mutation. It was simply selection of these expressions of the genome against over these expressions of the genome. And when conditions change, and all of a sudden there's a huge influx of new food, well, then the bigger bears will once again have an advantage, and they'll still be being born because they're part of the genome and possible genomic expression of that species. So we can see how, yes, isolated populations might prioritize certain aspects of a species over others, might prioritize the more drought tolerant instances of this species over the less drought tolerant, for example. But that doesn't involve any evolution, mutation, or anything. It's just the population expressing the optimal phenotypic expression of their shared genotype. Like, I'm not very famine resistant. I don't hold on weight at all. If I were living in famine times, I'd probably be dead. Whereas like Jack Black, he's very famine resistant. So the thing is, of course, as with people, so too with other species of any reasonable life length, it makes no sense for a species to evolve more famine resistance or less, because almost any species will move to try to find more food, and either they will fail to find enough food and die, or they'll discover new feeding grounds, you know? But most significantly, we can all acknowledge that there's no mechanism anyone can think of to evolve pigeons in the status quo. Think how huge the population is. No matter how impressive a mutation that one pretends could happen, there's no possible way that could make a significant dent in the genome given the total population of pigeons. So this is another factor that the big problem evolution has, is that even if you accept some undefined mechanism as adequate, which you shouldn't, the math doesn't work out. Genetic drift theories don't work for any populations any bigger than 100, and it's actually smaller than that. It's like 70 something. Just mathematically. And of course, genetic drift does not explain any substantive changes, only negligible changes. So, I get frustrated. I'm mad because it's like there are lots of smart people in the world. They should be agreeing with me. Why in every society patriarchy is historically present? Well, is it present now? Is there patriarchy happening right now? Or are you saying historically the U.S. was patriarchal? Well, I suspect it had a lot to do with an agrarian world, right? Where success, especially like in America, for example, was envisioned as a country of yeoman farmers, and it was expected that the man would go maybe homestead some number of acres, and by claiming this number of acres and working it, building a structure on it, and farming it, he would attain legal ownership of it. The thing is, back in the days, accordingly, in an agrarian society, gender roles are much more necessitated by actuality. So, dad's going to need a lot of kids on the farm to help because it's a lot of work, and mom's going to need to raise those kids, and etc. People get locked into their various gender roles. Does that comprise patriarchy? I don't think so necessarily. I think the term is garbage. There are patriarchal societies, like Islamic societies, but when it's applied to America, I think it's ridiculous. I've honed the shit out of it, Jesse. As you can tell, I have myriad excellent points to be made about it. I can talk about punctuated equilibrium. I can talk about the neutral theory, the nearly neutral theory, genetic drift theory, the sexual selection theory, all of which have attempted to replace the wrongness that is evolution. But it's just I've made my articulations of it in video form, and I've articulated lots of arguments in very effective order, in short order. I haven't dilly-dallied with it or something. Let me just go search for it. I think there's a playlist of nothing but evolution videos. Evolution. Yeah, well, here's a playlist with 23 videos on it, and here's a 7-hour stream titled "Evolution Wrong, Creation Wrong? What's the Deal?" I'll give you the 23 video playlist. I'll also give you this video here called "Why Proposed Mechanisms All Work Against Evolution." And another video called "The Death Throes of Evolution." People are very attached to it. People have historically gotten very upset when they hear that I don't agree with evolution. In other words, that I'm not convinced by its bullshit. You look like a psychopath. What does a psychopath look like? And if you see one walking down the road, what should you do? I don't feel like a psychopath. They remind me of the frog from Amazing Frog. Super cool. You think people kind of made science into their religion? Right, and that's what upsets them, Jesse, is that their expectations are not met. They're expecting me to say that evolution is wrong because God created everything. Whereas in reality, I'm saying we need to fire evolution because it never, ever, ever does its job. You get out of the psycho's path. Okay, I will. I mean, I understand some of the academics who are in evolutionary science themselves. Maybe they got into the field, now they're professors or something, and they're stuck in it, and they may even have some inkling that this doesn't make sense, but the thing is here, like, I don't even think it's they believe whatever a scientist says. I think that people understand if they want to be correct and your two options are science and religion, choose science. I think that in the absence of that dichotomy where you've got two choices, evolution or creation, which both of which are not good explanations for anything. But I really think it has to do with that more than anything else. That because it right away in the Scopes monkey trial got positioned as secularism versus sacred biblical stuff, whatever you want to call it, that people simply have the following heuristic. Oh, the question of where species come from? I side with the smart people, the scientists and stuff, not those crazy Christians who think the Earth's only 6,000 years old. Oh my God, blah, 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 blah. You get that, right? And most people don't give evolution a lot of thought. I didn't for a long time. It's like I just assumed that evolution did explain speciation. I didn't give it much thought. I got the gist of it, like sexual selection and stuff. But at some point, I don't remember what made me start thinking about it. I was just like, but okay. And then I started reading and I tried to understand it. So this is the kind of, I can understand this kind of thing. This isn't like quantum mechanics where I don't understand any of the symbols, nor the functions, nor how the functions cause the symbols to interact with one another. So it's not like that. I can understand the gist of their explanations just fine. The problem is they don't have any explanations that make any sense. everything's by coincidence. All right, mine. Every single thing in the world coincides with something. I like the theory of God as a technologically advanced alien race who created humans and all the species, which is basically what Christians believe anyway. Well, they believe in a technologically advanced, divine entity rather than an alien race. So it is different. Look, the thing to remember is that because more than one person experiences time and has observations, everything that ever happens can be established to have coincided with something else. Oh, I love pantheism. You mean pantheism? Like where you have a shit ton of different gods? I like that idea. You know. Hey, I'm God at keeping your shoes tidy. Let me take those for you. I'm gonna put them over here in the corner, and I just wipe off some of this dust. Is that pantheism? Or is pantheism when you believe that your pans and pots are God? Panentheism. Well, I don't know what that is, new group. Evolution was originally Darwin's perfectly respectable intuitive leap that turned out to be wrong. In the aftermath of Darwin's intuitive leap turning out to be wrong, instead of scrapping evolution like any sane person would, has been this century plus long adventure of trying to replace what Darwin said with something else and still call it evolution. The god of skibbity bop, pop, buddy boop bop bop bop, padoobity bop. No, Ruben, like this. A skibbity boop bop bop boppity boop bop 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 boppity boo. Like that. Okay, with more jazz hands. God, Ruben can't get anything right. I'm gonna play you this thing I was playing around with in the Audacity. It's called You, Me, and My Poop. A magical time together. That's not what it's called. I'm sorry I lied to you. Maybe I already played it for you. I don't know. So yeah, that was the thing I was playing around with earlier. I think it's anything worth writing home about or whatever. Just I find myself pleased to be fucking around with music again and wanting to and enjoying my piano. If you believe in pianos, and you believe in magic. Tinkling sounds of the magic fingers of piano. Let's play a little piano, okay? Russ and Stephen delight in delivering cheese every day. And the dairy that employs them ensures they earn quite reasonable pay. Russ has cheddar, American, and Swiss too. He'll bring them all to you. Stephen oversees from his desk easily. Russ and Stephen delight in delivering cheese every day. And the dairy that employs them ensures they earn quite reasonable pay. Russ has cheddar, American, and Swiss too. He'll bring them all to you, Stephen. Russ and Stephen are a couple of guys, work at the dairy from 9 to 5. Russ and Stephen think they've arrived. They work at the dairy the rest of their lives. Russ and Stephen think they've arrived. Work at the dairy from 9 to 5. Russ and Stephen are a couple of guys, work at the dairy for the rest of their lives. Russ and Stephen love delivering cheese. Russ and Stephen love delivering. I remember that last chord. Well, you get the gist of it. You know, just songs on the piano. Once a year in December, Christmas time is coming round. Santa Claus will be here soon, and you'd better be lying on the ground, 'cause Santa's bringing a cat, and he is mad in fact. He says you've been a naughty boy. Thank you. That was Santa's Going to Get You by Eric. 1, 2, 3, 4. Buddy poo pa. Buddy buddy pa poo pa. Buddy buddy pa pa. Ba-da-dee da pop. Buddy buddy pa pa. Ba-da-doo pop. Buddy dee pa pa. Yeah. Okay, let's go, everybody. It's time to exercise. I'm going to tell you what to do, and then you're the one who drives. First, you got to put your arms like this, like you're running in place with a couple of fists, and then you go like this until I say stop. All right. Now you do the same with your couple of feet. Like you're walking around, but you're staying in one spot. See, and then you don't know where you're going. You can turn yourself all around when you're done with this because it's boring. Ready? Here we go. And jumping jacks, and jumping jacks, and touch your toes, and touch your toes, and jumping jacks, and jumping jacks, and touch your toes. Now stretch. Now stretch your leg. Now stretch your arm. Now stretch your neck. Now stretch your back. Now stretch your stomach. Now stretch your dick. Now stretch your butt. Now stretch your thighs. Go ahead and stretch. Everybody lies. Don't lie here. Ties eyes. Try the thighs inside the sides, but don't try lying to lies about pies. That's Eric's exercise song. We're full of creative energy today, aren't we? Let's see what the old guitar has to say. Boo, pow, boo, boo, poo, pow, pow, boo, pow, boo, boo, poo, 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 pow, poodity poo, poo, pow, pow, poo, poo, poodity poo, poo, pow, poo, pow. What do you sound? You're a poo, 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 pow. Over here a little closer to the drums. Get a better mix. Turn up a little louder too. Can we meet up? Can we meet up in the park today? Will I see you? Will we spend together our time at the diner? Are we going to define a means of interaction between us? Are we gonna find a reason we must mountain, going to the low, far from the city below, going to the low, up mountain, going to the low, drive up those windy roads, mountain sunshine on the trees, far above the smoky city, mountain sunshine on those trees, mountain sunshine on the trees, far above the smoky city, mountain sunshine on those trees, going to the low, up mountain, going to the low, far from the city below, going to the low, up mountain, going to the low, drive up those windy roads, mountain sunshine on the trees, far above the smoky city, mountain sunshine on those trees, mountain sunshine on the trees, far above the smoky city, mountain sunshine on the tree at the low. What can you do? Or what do you say? And how do you knew? What do you laugh? Let's see, I need to plug my phone in. I need to plug it in. Otherwise, it'll run out of electricity again. Where is the plug? I think it's right here. Let's go. Fight on. Come on. Let's go. We're gonna win and have a great show. There. Now you're plugged all in. And it's time for you to win. Pro-speed public service announcement. Well, I'm sure my FE oblivious tweakings were probably not the ideal live stream to watch. Fortunately, this is the only YouTube channel on the internet, so not like you had a lot of other choices. Anyway, if you're still here, God bless you. You are a patient person. If you're not still here, God bless you anyway. You had the good sense to get out of the rain before you got wet. Okay, well, that was fun for me. Probably not fun for anybody else, but it was fun for me. Oh, yeah, Eric, well, what else is fun for you? What else is fun? Lots of things. Like what? Like hobbies? Like what? Shut up. You didn't answer my question. Like what? Shut up, lady. I don't know, like what? I don't even know where the mouse is. And now everything's all gone to shit. Here's the mouse. Don't worry, everything's fine again. Mm-hmm. Hey there. This is my national anthem. My nation is kind of a spooky one. This is my national anthem. And I am a very patriotic son. I sing about the castles, the pyres, the peaks of my homeland. It doesn't really sound like a national anthem. But you know what? Who am I to be prejudiced against things for not being active enough like a erect, interject. Reverse meeting. Reverse meeting, huh? Reverse. Reverse meeting. What's the ink son? Inky pinkety, huh? Pinkety. Hmm. Hmm. I don't know. I give up. I think you're revert. Oh, revert meeting. Oh, let's see. Hmm. Inky Pinky. Hmm. 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 I can't get it. It's undo something, right? It's got to be undo something. Return sojourn. That doesn't even rhyme. And a sojourn is not a synonym with meeting. Like if you could say revert dipping cheese. Revert, no, it's not close enough. Revert dipping cheese would be undo fondue. Even that's not really a true rhyme, but close enough in that instance. The point is, the opposite of a meeting is a sojourn. So to revert a meeting, you have to say like, you know, like, like Wembley Assembly or something, but it'd have to mean something. Ruh-roh, I don't know if it's a slant rhyme or true rhyme. Control Z, party in the shed. Control Z, party in the shed. Okay, am I trying to come up with one? I guess I am, right? I shouldn't be trying to come up with one. It's too hard for me. Retrogress. I was thinking devolve, undo. Or deconstruct, possibly. Lots of words it could mean. Revert. I even considered proto. All right. Let me get. What am I getting from here? I getting? I need to eat, I think. I should eat something. I'll eat my leftovers. Cause we both know the way it's gonna go. It's the same way. Alright, so we're going to. Am I famous? Oh, I am so famous. I'm shocked you haven't already heard of me. Have you heard of Jesus? Have you heard of Martin Luther King Jr.? Have you heard of Abraham Lincoln? If you've heard of any of those people, then you definitely should have heard of me, because I'm way more famous than those people. Okay. I tell you, you don't want this. It's just right. Fried chicken, I'll have to give you some, but. You feel betrayed, Sean? Okay, I got an inky pinky for you. That's actually a. Here it is. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm typing into the chat. I'm caught up in these inky pinky, so I'm thinking a lot instead of talking. Normally I talk, but I have to really think hard to figure out, especially Acacia's super hard inky pinkies. She comes up with great ones. I just came up with a great one too. That's a very difficult one. Temporary freeze store. But when you hear it, you'll be like, oh, obviously. Those are the best ones, right? Like, I just came up with sarcastic nonsense. It was snarky malarkey. It's a great one. I couldn't come up with it. Once I heard it, it was obvious. Hey, Brittany. Are you that Brittany? Hey, this is just rice. You don't even want it. What's up? Okay, the Inky Pinky is this kind of word puzzle where I'd give you a clue like hilltop water spout. I'd tell you the answer is an inky pinky. And the answer is mountain fountain. Because the answer always rhymes and you tell them how many syllables it is. And you give them a clue. So hilltop is synonym for mountain. Water spout is synonym for fountain. So there you go. It works like that. You can come up with them or you can try to answer them. Or you can do neither. Temporary freeze is the term. So I put a semicolon after temporary freeze before store. Right, I'm drinking this weed drink. Do you know who Jeff Lowe is? No, I don't think so. Do you know who Jeff Lowe is? No, it's 5 syllable, 4 syllable. This is a very tough one. When you hear it, you'll be like, oh, yeah, I get it. I see. 5-4. So yeah, the second one is pinketity. The first one is inkitity. 5-4. It's okay, Brittany. You know, you obviously have had to deal with a lot of shit and have your struggles. I'm, in some ways, a lot more empathetic than I used to be. No, I don't know who Jeff Lowe is from Tiger King. I've never seen Tiger King. I wouldn't want to watch a show where animals are kept captive, you know. I don't like to go to zoos either. Oh, yeah? What do you think of his keeping tigers thing? And most importantly, did he ever make his tigers fuck lions to make ligers? And if so, how did he convince them to do it? You can't really like force the male lion to have sex with the female tiger. So I guess probably they just get the female tiger all dolled up, put a lot of makeup and perfume and stuff on her. Teachers had a flirt. Or maybe they, when the lion's going to go into bed, it's going to go to sleep with its lion wife, the zookeepers have snuck in and taken away the lion wife and replaced her with that tiger woman. And they rubbed the lion wife's smell all over the tiger woman. The the lion man comes in and goes, "Oh, honey, it's been a long day. I want to hump." And then he humps the lady, and she's just kind of quiet the whole time. And then he turns on the light. He's like, "What the fuck? You're a tiger. What are you doing in my bed? What did you do with my wife?" And the tiger's like, listen, it wasn't my idea. The zookeepers made me. Why would they do something so horrible? They want to see if we can create an abomination. Fly guy, fly guy, fly guy, fly guy. That's not a fun story at all. My story of how they make ligers involves zookeepers somehow convincing lions and tigers to fuck each other. That's my explanation, okay? I'm not saying in this instance, yes, you got it, Acacia, you got it. Bam, bam. That is the power of Acacia right there. That's a tough one, right? Bam is right. You deserve to bam that one. It probably. I'm gonna get my glasses. I can't see. All right. Well, the good news, everybody, is that I've only stayed up one night. I'm entering into the second night. And I'm definitely gonna go to sleep before like midnight. I'm gonna take a Landsy if I got to. Do one for us first graders. Okay, here you go. This is a person with whom arrives a vocalist. It's an inky pinky. A person with whom a vocalist gets a ride. That one's not super easy, but Person who gives a ride to a vocalist, yeah. Yes. Correct, Sean. Singer bringer. Exactly. There it goes. I'm not quite sure how to operate. It's got these two different knobs. I don't know what each of them is supposed to do exactly. Hey, everybody. Hi, Dr. Show Media. You are Sean. You're a real smart cookie. And your mother and I are both very, very proud of you. For the first report card ever, not a single D or F. I never thought we'd see today, but Sean, you came home with straight C's, and we are taking you out to the fanciest dinner we can afford. Oh, you'd like that, wouldn't you? McDonald's? I would like McDonald's, but I had it earlier today. Took you an hour, but you finally made some coffee. Amaze quick. Hmm. I don't know. You start giving me. I don't think about Inky Pinky there. Fall silent. I'm just thinking. Astound bound? Is it astound bound? You want McDonald's? Well, I don't have any McDonald's for you. I mean, we do have some leftover fries, but I don't think you want them. They're cold. Not astound bound? Pretty good answer, though. Hmm. I don't know. I give up. No, I can't help you out with $5. Unless you want me to help explain $5 to you or explain how to make change for $5. Those things I can do. Amaze quick, huh? Like aghast fast? But aghast doesn't really mean amaze. You have a Chime account. Well, good for you. I don't have a Chime account. Well, I don't even know what a Chime account is. Is it aghast fast? You'll notice that unlike many YouTubers, Vincent Hutchinson, I don't ask you for money. I don't say, hey, super chat me, everybody, so I can have your money. I just figure you'll figure out what you want to do with your money. You don't need me telling you. Well, I gasped fast, but it's not correct. Hmm. Thanks, Acacia. Close is good. Thanks for your kindness and for hearing me. I was in an unstable place and acting in ways that were disruptive, selfish, and inappropriate. Disrespect space, people, trust given. Whether emotional, social, spiritual, and organic things right one at a time. Well, consider your amends made, Brittany. I held no grudges against you. And I understood that, you know, we go through challenging phases in our lives. I just came out of a challenging mental health um, phase myself after the death of my parents. I went through such time of depression, a lot of guilt and stuff like that. And so I appreciate you, you know, engaging in the discourse that it is the kind of discourse that reflects people trying to get healthy, you know. But like I said, no hard feelings at my end. He didn't fuck with me, so you know. I mean, sure you were a little crazy, but you aren't like Courtney or that other Chloe who like did damage to the channel. And you certainly were an interesting character, although I know from your own perspective you were suffering in a really difficult place and not trying to be an interesting character. By the way, Brittany, I finally decided you're an ENTP. Just kidding. I'm just joking. I don't care what type you are. You moths. Don't you know you should go out into the night? Let's go around the back. Let's go around the back and let's look at the pond some more. Because it's hard to look at the pond too much and to visualize its future. I have big dreams for the pond. Big dreams. These days, Brittany, what I'm thinking about are important things like pond. Cameron was here a little while ago. What type is glide flaps? Glide flaps is a really quiet ESTP, okay? And the reason is because he likes to play it off like he's just the strong silent type. But when he glides, the flaps shoot air into these little holes in the bottom of his neck where his glide flaps connect. And it messes up his voice. He always just talking like this. So he just basically remains silent. Which is why a lot of people mistype him as an ISTP. Really, he just has a shitty superpower that causes him laryngitis. And that's really one to grow on, I think. You need to stop demanding electricity all the time. phone. What do I look like, you bitch? Carry around this plug and don't let the phone not have electricity for a second. It's gonna throw a little tantrum. You know, screw you, phone. What are you get in trouble? Don't hunt, okay? If you see any little animals out here, just leave them alone. They're not bothering you. You don't need to bother them. I think I will plant a few more seeds, but you know, I might not continue to trench. I might continue to trench, because it does agreeably drain downhill. And put maybe 2 more seeds in. I'm still not sure that all the ones up there are going to survive, but they seem like they're probably going to survive. Forgot. But I'm stuck in one place. Charging my phone. Reprehensible patriarch. Bad dad. Oh, in case you beat me to it, huh? How about a fit and healthy marten? It's an inky pinky. That is naughty potty. I agree. Did anybody get mine? It's a fit and healthy marten. A fit and healthy marten. Martin, Martin. Yes, 2-2. Indeed it is. So the real question for me is going to be this. I'm going to probably get a little something else done before I go to sleep. I'm going to take a olanzapine, which will hopefully knock me out. But I could either. Probably don't want to mess around with the pond right now. More of a daytime thing. I could go over to the other house and see if I can move those washer and dryer with the dolly. Nope. It's a Hardy Marty. That was not a fair one because I used an actual person's name and the nickname for it. I figured you'd go to the bird because that would be a more fitting clue. So I cheated, basically. I cheated just to make you feel bad, Acacia. I know. Well, that's why I cheated. Yours does work, but not what I intended. So you still get the point. You still win. Uh, Sister Fister. Usually those are stepsisters. No, Acacia, I learned a valuable lesson here today. It turns out that, in fact, cheaters never prosper. I can tell my lack of prospering right now. It feels like a thick residue of shame slime encompassing my whole soul. You know what you are, Acacia? You're someone who defeats a an unfair guy like me, Inky Pinky. You're someone who defeats an unfair guy like me, Inky Pinky. Exactly, Acacia. Exactly. You are the cheater beater. You beat my cheating, and you destroyed my self-esteem. All in one fell swoop. Hi, Sean. Inky Pinky, what is Inky Pinky? Um, I've got one for you right now. This is an old-fashioned strip show office hub. This is an old-fashioned strip show office hub, and it's an inky pink. Old-fashioned strip show. Old-fashioned strip show office hub. Inky pink. What kid in the photo? And what photo? I don't see any photo. I don't see no photo. I haven't been allowed to look at photos since my parents caught me looking at some dirty pictures when I was 13. Lipstick.
That's probably.
Jace, this is really bad. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's good. Now, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do a little bit of workish kind of stuff. But I never put my evolution links. Well, anybody wants to learn about evolution, they can just channel search my channel evolution and get shit tons of stuff. Okay. Now, what am I doing? Oh, right. I'm uploading that shmupload. I'm uploading that shmupload, and we'll all be grateful about it later. Output. Is this it? Let me see. Hello. This is it. Okay, good. Output. Pew to the pew. All right, now, typing session. Typing session. Colon. RALF equals what personality type. Okay, now I'm gonna put on the playlist for typing sessions. And next, monetization on. Next, add suitability, none of the above. Submit rating. Next, video elements, nah, whatever. Checks, fine, whatever. Visibility. Schedule. April 16th at 10 a.m. That's tomorrow, 10 a.m.? Yes. Set as premiere. And schedule. All right. So when that's done uploading, it's taking longer than it normally would because I'm live streaming and it's huge because it's a Windows Movie Maker censored video. Schedule. Who are you talking about? Oh no, she wasn't an ENFP. No, she was not an ENFP. I mean, sure, but she might be publishing. She just said she wants to look at it first before she decides whether or not to publish it. She wants to double check that she didn't say anything that she regrets or whatever. So it's quite possible that she will message me back like tomorrow and say, oh, here, she did message me. No, she didn't want to publish. Yeah, she doesn't want to publish it. Okay, that's fine. I typed her INTP, and she thinks she can't determine. She thinks she's ENTP. But I think she's INTP, and I can't win the argument because I don't have decisive FI or SE polar test. But my intuition says not NI absolute value. Very full of parentheticals and stuff, in a typical any tool fashion. No, but the one I did just upload, there was this guy Ralph who said I could publish if I just blurred his last name. Then I totally forgot about it. Then he emailed me today and said, "Can you send me the video?" And I said, "Oh, sorry, I forgot about that. I sent him the video privately." He's like, "And remember, I said you could publish it if." I'm like, "Oh, right. I don't remember that, but thank you for reminding me." And I'll see how difficult it is to do that. It's not difficult at all. Windows Movie Maker has this thing called censor video where you just put the sensory thing on the object you want censored. And then if it moves, you can set it to track the object. But in this video, it always appears in the same spot, so it was really easy to do. Mm. It actually just uploaded. Processing to SD in 5 minutes. It's not. It hasn't sent out any announcements or anything yet. Um, yeah, the guy's name is Ralph. I don't remember what type he was because it was like a couple weeks ago or something. 10 a.m. I scheduled it for 10 a.m. tomorrow, my time. I don't know why. It's not like I'm gonna watch it, but 10 a.m. just seems like a good time, I guess. Do I save all the sessions? Uh, not. I don't. I try not to. The thing is, for for people who I share with them privately, in theory, every once in a while, I go get around to deleting all those videos from my Google storage because I don't need them taking up space. But I have so much space in Google storage that there's not really any pressure to get around to deleting them. But yeah, my official policy on those videos is to delete them once they're shared or uploaded because I don't need them to take up space anymore. I'm never going to reference them again. Were there any other types you thought that occasion might be upon meeting? I mean, I didn't get any data from you upon meeting you, right? Like, It's not like you came in the room like, hey, it's me, it's Keisha. What's up, motherfucker? Pow, 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 pow. You could hardly have given me any less data. Except, of course, the absence of data is indicative of something. I think it'd be fun, though, in case if you were like that. If next time I saw you, you came in and you're like, what's up, motherfuckers? Rachel, my bitch. How's it going? E-dog, up here. Ha ha, psych. That'd be really weird. Next time I saw you, you were like that. I'd be surprised. I'd be like, wow, you really have some mood swings going on, Acacia. Perhaps you're going through menopause. What if you had a job as an actor and you had to act like that on stage? Would you be able to do it? Assuming they were paying you well, but only if you tried hard to do a good job. I mean, the one thing I see as a barrier to entry for you, Keisha, is that unlike most people, you don't believe the children are our future. And that's going to put you at odds with a lot of people. Understandably, because you're wrong, the children are our future. Or at least they're their own future. But oh no, Acacia's got to be in charge of everything, even the future. No, I am our future. Me, Acacia, lady of the future. I remember hearing this screaming argument that Ruben and Acacia were having one time when they were here. And Ruben was saying, shh, okay, you're the lady of the future. And Acacia's like, don't you patronize me. I come from 10,000 years hence. You don't even know anything about civilization or technology. He's like, okay. I'm like, is everything okay up there, guys? And they both go down, yeah, we're fine. We're just acting out a science fiction play. I didn't believe it for a second. You can't fool me that easily. Use new slang. Well, I like the idea of let's use some new slang. Like we got some new slang today. Leprechauns from this point forward will be referred to simply as leps. Because even if the word leprechaun is easy enough to say, nobody knows how to spell it. Also, I've got a racial slur for Koreans we can use. We'll get their approval, of course, first. Call them Rians. Like I call this cigarette a rill, which is short for cigarillo. So it's not new slang for me, but it's new for you. What I call my cock atlas, because it literally holds the world on its shoulders. Your cock doesn't have shoulders, Eric. Metaphorical shoulders. I was watching an episode of Naked and Afraid the other night, where one of the guys, is sitting by the campfire and like trying to get settled in for going to bed or something because it's gotten dark. And a scorpion bit him right on his dick. Stung him on his dick. Oh. That would make me tap immediately. Anything stinging my dick is just, no, I'm out. Lepas and lepos. You mean female leprechauns are lepas? I think they're all leps. Well, look, it's a term that can be used for either. Double lep is a leprechaun with leprosy. Triple lep is a leprechaun with leprosy who is lept. Like, we can make a new word, shogger. Oh my God, that's so shogger. It just means kind of like uninspired and boring. I could not watch any more of that shogger show. It shogged the fuck out of me. So shog can mean bore. That's a real shogger. I don't know if you're going to want to sit through that. Anyway, we've come up with a new term here. It's great. It's a word we've long needed. Well, you get a triple lep and a triple rainbow. The pot of gold becomes more than 9 times the size. Because it's 3 times 3 times 3. Because there's 3 pots of gold, 3 rainbows, and 3 leprechauns. What is a group of leprechauns called? A flittering? A flittering of leprechauns. I walked onto the moors the other day and spotted a flittering of leprechauns playing strip poker out in the bog. I said, "You leps, get out of here." One of them stood and said, "I leppy hate speech." I said, "You're going to either give me that pot of gold or get the fuck out of here, you leps." Anyway, they went away. I never did find that pot of gold. I'm Leprechaun Love, and that gold belongs to the leprechauns. An enclave. Okay. We could go over to the other house and see if we can do something about that washer and dryer. We might as well. It's just one little task, and it may involve a little bit of unscrewing and screwing back in, but like I could take I could take it to Lansing now and go get that task done. By the time I come back, I'll probably be tired and ready for bed. Hi, beautiful. Can I pop a Lansing?
Sure.
Thank you. Then I'm going to go to the other house, see if I can use the hand truck plus unscrew a few things to detach the washer and dryer and stuff back there, and see if I can get the furniture moved.
Okay.
Just to get one more thing done before the night's out, you know?
Sure.
And then I figure by the time I get back, the Lansing will be kicking in and I'll be ready to go to sleep.
That sounds like a pleasant evening.
Okay, Lansing popped. It's now time to get the little wilderness car keys. We're going to pop over there and see if we can get something accomplished real quick. You want to leave the bathroom door open?
Oh, no. I meant the bedroom.
Alright, cool. Let me turn some lights off. Save a little electricity. Do you need more food, buddy? Alright, let me give you more food. There you go, mister. Yes, you're a good boy. You know what I think you want to be, Trouble? I think you want to be tempted. You want to be tempted with temptations. Oh, yes. Be tempted by these tempting temptations. Okay. No trouble. You have enjoyed plenty of eat watching. Okay, now get the keys. Could be eating her temptations too. Because both of them love temptations. So. Got a couple joints in this, so bring this. Bring this so that we don't run out of electricity. Did I finish my weed drink yet? No. I want to finish this drink, at least take it with me. That cat is not losing weight, but he also doesn't put on weight. He's just a huge fucking cat. He eats massive amounts, but he always stays the same size. He also sheds massive amounts. He's an impossibly bad cat in every conceivable way. We love him anyway, of course, because he forced his love on us. But, and, you know, When a cat decides that you are their person all of a sudden, we already had a cat. His name's Trouble for a reason. We didn't want a second cat. But he love bombed us. He's a narcissist. Well, Eric, can you come up with one reason why you're not going to go anywhere? That's right, because you don't have the keys. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm also going to replace the cat litter trash can. Clean the cat litter while I'm here. Trash bag, I mean. Definitely my grossest chore. Among my least favorite, but at least it doesn't take very long. Eric, you went and got the trash bag, but you didn't get your keys. Ridiculous. Okay, for seriously though now. I should have gotten cigarettes and all. But I didn't. It's okay, I just have some buds and I will have a vape too if I really need it. Go hammer some shit out. If you're not familiar with the drill, we'll be disconnected for about 60 to 90 seconds because in between the Wi-Fi's I don't have much connectivity around here. The other house is about a half block away, so it doesn't take long to get there. And we will reconnect once we get in range of that Wi-Fi. so I'm gonna enjoy. Let's get ready to go up history's most treacherous stairs. And who knows? Maybe we won't even die. Is this light working here? What is it? Oh, whatever. I can't see shit. Do I even have my flashlight over here? Or is it the other house? Why are there so many lights on? I guess I just forgot to turn the lights off earlier. Okay. Here we are. I bought this today. Basically got it for free. Alright, so let me show you what the scenario is here and what I need to do. Plug in the charger, which is where exactly? Did I not put it in my pocket? I am some kind of mess. This should do fine. Okay, let's turn some more lights around here. There. Alright, so let me move this out of the way again. We're trying to get it back there. But these things need to be pushed to one side, you know? So, I think what I'm going to have to do is unscrew this tube that the air goes out of, so that basically try to unscrew everything from these things and then screw it back in after I move them. I'll take you back there to look. I really need a flashlight. Well, there is light in here. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay. All right, let's take that one out. Okay, you plugged in again. Now I'm going to get a screwdriver, flathead, big flathead, and I'm going to unscrew this ducting. Okay, easy peasy. Now, I'm going to turn off these water spigots. Okay. All right. I think the first thing I'm going to attempt here is to get the dolly, which I bought today. See if I can scoot these bad boys over. Okay. Okay, well, when you do that, I can walk it, I think. Should be able to. Get this corner first. There we go. Not that way. The other way. All right, let's try this. Perfect. Now, let me reattach this. Okay. There's the screwdriver. I had it in place too. Fine, I'll get it back in place. I can get it once, I can get it again. Okay. Good. Come on, motherfucker. Do I have my glasses with me? Oh, God. I hate being blind. There we go. Okay. Get you in there. Okay.